Tonight's fight is the 11th championship match to be held in this very building. Now, let's move inside. Incorporated. Promoted by Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated. Between the heavyweight champion of the world, Cassius Clay, or Muhammad Ali, and the challenger, Floyd Patterson, the only man in the history of boxing to twice hold the world heavyweight boxing crown. Coming to you live from the fabulous Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, a real big one tonight. First two in the ring, gentleman Gene Delmont, who boxed 10 different world champions way back when. Gentleman Gene is now about 70 or 71 years of age, and our good friend Jackie Fields in there. There goes Eddie Fisher. Fans give him a good hand. Rocky Marciano is getting ready to climb into the ring. And then we see the march down the aisle. There's Gene Fulmer. There's Floyd Patterson coming down from his dressing room, going into the ring with a red robe, very confident, getting a good hand. Now, while Floyd Patterson is resting in his corner, the former champions, there's Sonny Liston up there, are gathered in the neutral corner around Jackie Fields. We have our cameras on Floyd, and that's the idea, naturally. Harry Krause, who will be the referee, is climbing in the ring now. Krause, one-time outstanding welterweight and middleweight. There's Cassius Clay being roundly booed. Muhammad Ali, who wants to be known as Cassius Clay, still bouncing and coming around, going up the ring stairs now.
Will Billy Kahn come to the ring, please?
Cassius Clay is to our left from our vantage point. Floyd Patterson to our right. And now let's go up to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you kindly rise and remain standing as Eddie Fisher sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, and the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
going, Eddie. Eddie, you really don't...
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have you meet some of the men who have written boxing history down through the years. From another era, here is Gentleman Gene Delmont.
Gene boxed 10 different world champions dating back to Benny Leonard's time.
The former welterweight champion of the world, Jackie Fields.
Jackie was the Olympic champion back in 1924.
Here's the former middleweight champion, Gene Fulmer.
Gentleman Gene Fulmer, always popular around the boxing world.
The Pittsburgh Irishman, who now makes his home in Las Vegas, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, Billy Conn.
We remember Billy for his great fights with Joe Louis, a great gladiator of yesterday.
The former heavyweight champion of the world, Sonny Liston.
Sonny just told us he's going to come back, wants to meet George Chivallo, maybe in Pittsburgh.
From Detroit, the fabled Brown Bomber, Joe Louis.
Need we say more?
From Brockton, Massachusetts, the retired, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Marciano.
Very popular guy. Unbeaten, untied, unscored upon, 49-0.
Now, Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated, Robert A. Nylon, president, in conjunction with the Silver State Sport Club, Jack Doyle and Mel Greb, co-promoters, and Sports Vision Incorporated present 15 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world, sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, John Bud Traynor, Commissioner, James Deskin, Executive Secretary. The judges assigned here this evening are Harold Buck, Bill Strummel, the timekeeper, Lou Pearl, knockdown timekeeper, Steve Romeo, the referee, Harry Krause. Physicians in attendance are, in the red corner, Dr. Donald Romeo, in the white corner, Harold Arkshaw. The principals, from New York City, wearing black trunks, weighing 196 3/4 pounds, the challenger, Floyd Patterson. From Louisville, Kentucky, wearing white trunks, weighing 210 pounds, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
Both of you boys received instructions earlier. The mandatory 8 counters effect, 3 knockdown ruling has been waived.
We're trying to pick up Harry Krause's words to both men.
The remainder until I wave them out. On the inside, where one hand is tied up, I want you to break. I want you to step back and break clean. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Step back, shake hands until I'm fighting at the bell. Shake hands. Wait a second. I'll see.
Round 1, 15 rounds. World Heavyweight Championship. Now the round begins. minute of this fight, Cassius Clay seems content to just move. Hands very low. Halfway through round one. No, I was wrong on my timing. Only about 40 seconds left in the round.
All right, cut off the center.
Clay is clowning at this point. That's round one. Very little scoring in round one, as we saw it. Muhammad Ali is talking with Angelo Dundee, his manager. Muhammad did very little punching, was content to play, was content to move. Angelo talked hard to the champion. Clay is now talking to the crowd, to the $100 ringsiders. It's a matter of ring style. Floyd, hands high. Look out, Buster. Clay is running all over the ring. No knockdown. Floyd wants to unload or explode his left hook. He's got it cocked, ready to shoot all the time. But Clay keeps you off balance with the jab. It's a beautiful left jab. Half a minute to go in round 2. Closing seconds of the round. From McTeer's help, seem to be running Cassius Clay. All ready for round 3. Shot the best so far thrown in the fight. Beautiful left jab by Cassius Clay. And don't kid yourself, Floyd's not an easy target. 2 minutes to go in round 3. Halfway through this third round. Minute to go in round 3. Floyd keeping his hands rather high. Wants to slip that left lead if he can and shoot that left hook. The left lead is hard to slip. Beautiful jab. Only about 14, 15 seconds to go in this third round. Man, they're exchanging good left at times. Closing seconds. Getting set for round 4. We'll note that Floyd isn't leading. He's forcing the issue, but not leading with punches. He wants to counter the leads of Clay. Harry Krause, the referee, just asked the fellas to keep punching. And he asked Clay to stop chattering. He wants Cassius to stop talking. And to stop holding. 1 minute gone so far in round 4. Halfway through this 4th round. Clay is changing his style. To go in this 4th round. Clay's shaking no. I don't know why. Closing seconds of the 4th round. Now let's start the red gutterage of the London Evening News. Reg, you've covered many outstanding World Heavyweight Championship fights here in America. How does this look to you right now?
Well, there's no doubt about it, Steve, that all the young people in our audiences will talk about this man as we did Jack Johnson. He's absolutely incredible. I think it's Jack Johnson and Tommy Burns all over again. He's playing cat and mouse with him, or possum, as you call it here. And it does seem as though Clay has prophesied exactly what he would do, that he would punish him severely. Patterson's feet seem to be gone. He just can't get any coordination going at all. At one time, he turned around there. He tried to throw a combination punch, but failed miserably. And those left jabs may seem as though they're only flicking, but they're hurting.
They're piling up points, if nothing else, Reg. Reg Gutteridge of the London Evening News. Thank you, sir. And Reg just compared Cassius Clay with Jack Johnson, and that's a pretty good comparison. We're in round 5. Floyd now wants Cassius to come to him. And it looks like he's going to do that, too. If you're concerned about the tail of the tape or the dimensions, Clay is 6'3" and a fraction, while Floyd is an even 6 feet tall. And in reach, the reach for Clay is 79 inches, 71 for Floyd. So from the standpoint of dimensions, the champion has it all over the challenger. Floyd is asking Clay to come to him. to go in this fifth round. Seconds more in number 5. Closing seconds of this fifth round. Well, I know we all score this one together. We're 1/3 in. We're going into round 6. Looking at Harry Krause, who has done an excellent job thus far as third man in the ring. And Harry was a good fighter, some 25 years ago, and certainly knows his business inside the ring ropes. The medical man in charge here tonight, very qualified fella, Dr. Donald Romeo. Now it's round 6. Looking into, with our close-up, our creepy peepy camera, into Floyd Patterson's corner. He looks good. A little problem around the nose, but seems to be okay. This is number 6. Big round for the champion. Very big. Ten seconds to go in this round. Floyd will take a knockdown. Mandatory 8 count. Mandatory 8. They're refreshing Patterson. Clay poured it on in the round 6. Threw every punch in the book at him. Harry Krause handled the situation well. Mandatory 8 count. We're still looking in at Floyd Patterson. Buster Watson talking. Buster Watson telling Floyd what he wants. Round 7 coming up.
This fight is being beamed around the world by Sports Vision tonight. Early bird satellite. We're being seen throughout England at this present time. Throughout Europe, South America. And of course, we're being heard on ABC Radio. Our friends, Chris Schenkel, Howie Cosell, Tommy Harmon, and Rocky Marciano are broadcasting this one on ABC. Madison was hurt with that uppercut. Floyd with a flat-footed stance wants to slip that leather, and then when given a chance, when close enough, wants to unloose those left hooks, but he can't get the shot. Uppercuts are damaging Floyd. And the jabs are offsetting him. Seconds to go in this 7th round. Uppercut again doing the damage. Floyd catching lots of leather. Wants to stand in his corner at the end of 7. Ernie Fowler, Al Silvani, Mickey Allen, Buster Watson, all trying to give the guy instructions. Buster's running the corner right now. Silvani's getting him ready. Ten-second buzzer has sounded, seconds out. Ready now for round number 8.
just measuring his man. Floyd seemed to have had a cramp in his leg in between rounds. Floyd still with flat-footed stance, looking to get leverage, looking to tee off. Play with a beautiful left jab and left lead, aiming shots all around the head and all around the body. And Floyd obviously slightly tired at this point. We're halfway through the fight. Halfway or less. With a minute to go in round 8, you'll know how Clay seems to fight with hands down. Gives you a big target, but shoots leather from every angle. Seconds to go in number 8. Beautiful left lead, more than a left jab. It leads to other punches. But Muhammad Ali might be turning it on right now. Cash's play going right and then left, then in, then out. A very tough target to gauge. Floyd wants to unleash that big bomb if he can. We're in round number 9 of the fight for the world title for 15. Floyd standing his ground, not leading, looking to counter if he gets a chance. I believe that it's Floyd's back that's been bothering him. We've had a tremendously good show for the crowd here this evening, about 7,000 strong. And the general manager for Intercontinental, Al Boland, put on an excellent show. Floyd hurt with that right-hand shot. Buster Watson yelling instructions from Patterson can't, but Floyd can't seem to get off. 30 seconds to go in this 9th round. Raising shot. Floyd still walking, stalking forward. That's the end of number 9. That's definitely Floyd's back that's bothering him just a little. Buster Watson still talking with him. Al Silvani still trying to help the man. Nine rounds in the record book. 10th round coming up. Been an interesting fight. Matter of ring style, as we pointed out early. Cassius Clay, the mover. Number 10. Well, did you think it would go this far? Going to give it that do-or-die All-American try in this one. Buster Watson yelling, "Give it on, Floyd. Give it on." This fellow's a fast hunter. This world champion can fight. In our pre-fight show for Sports Vision, Muhammad Ali told us, and those of you who saw it or heard it might remember that he said, "I'm going to whip this man. I'm going to punish him." Floyd Patterson's dead game. Still carries the big bomb. Still can hit a home run. We're in round number 10. Floyd Patterson has all the courage in the world, all the gameness that a fist fighter can take in the ring with him. This man, his opponent, the champion, has all the shots that a fella can want. He can punch from every angle. The end of number 10. number 11. We've had 20 rounds thus far tonight, 10 in the semifinal, where Big Train Lincoln beat Babe Spencer. And now we're in the 11th of the World Championship fist fight. Harry Krause talking to the gladiators. Oh, man. Floyd still with punching power. Floyd has lost only 4 times out of 48 fights. He's won 44 and dropped 4. Clay has a 21-0 record, 21 wins in 21 outings. To go on number 11. Madison still game, still trying to unleash that heavy leather. But the other man taunting him with very fast moves. Closing seconds of number 11. Well, the action slowed down a little bit, but Floyd's still in there and still dangerous. Power punching all the way, and Buster Watson and Al Silvani working on him. Dr. Donald Romeo's in the corner at the present time, talking with Floyd, asking about his back. That's the doctor on the outside of the ring apron on the right-hand corner of your screen. Referee Harry Krause was called in. Now let's see what's happening. We've gone through 11. Dr. Romeo talking with Krause, talking with the corner. He seems to be okay. Harry, is that okay? Harry Krause yells yes to us. Floyd's okay. Number 12 coming up. To work. Evidently, Dr. Romeo did some talking to him. Gaddis resorting to those uppercuts again. Buster Watson yelling, move in before. But this man is throwing a variety of shots. Wow, on the end of every shot, 3, 4 of them. Patterson, obviously hurt at this point. Beautiful punches by Cassius Clay, the world champion. Beautiful shots all the way. Each finding its mark. And round 12. Floyd Patterson showing heart. Showing gameness all the way. He's wobbly. He's hurt. He's on the receiving end of good punches all the way. What a marksman. A minute to go in number 12. What a marksman Cassius Clay is. I believe they're going to stop it.
The time, 2 minutes and 18 seconds of the 12th round. Referee stops the contest. The winner and still heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
Give me the box. Give me that box. The box underneath. Ladies and gentlemen. We'll have Muhammad Ali over in just a minute. Hey, Muhammad. Angelo. Officer, get Muhammad Ali over. Momentarily, we'll get him over for you. Let's see what we can do. Here's the world champion, Muhammad Ali. Champ, was it a tough fight?
I have to say one thing for Floyd. I was doing my best.
This I know.
And I'm just so surprised that he could take so many punches. And I'd like to thank my leader, Elijah Muhammad, for the prayers he just gave me. All praise is due to Allah for giving me the strength to overtake a crowd booing against me and just beat a man merciful who's a fast, top-notch boxer.
Muhammad.
Thanks to Allah for the supreme boxing wisdom.
All right, Muhammad, did you expect Floyd would go into the 12th round?
No, I didn't. I figured the fight would go 6 or 7. But I wasn't taking no chances. He's a real man. He didn't fall. I really hit him with a lot of punches.
With a lot of punches. Did he hurt you at any time?
No, he didn't, but I predicted that the way he's been talking about me, that I would give him a good whipping. And I'm so thankful that he did have the power to stand up like he did, because that's what he got, was a good whooping.
All right, now, we're going to replay this 12th round if we can, Claire. Can we do it? In a little while, we're going to replay it for you. Tell us this. Did you feel that you were way out front going into the 12th?
Well, I knew I was way out front because I predicted that I would hit him about 6 times to his miss. And that's exactly what happened. And I think it's time for the boxing public, also the American public, to give me the justice that I'm due for actually saying what I would do, which this is the first time in history.
All right, now, who would you like to fight? We're not going to replay it back because that 12th round was rather slow. You were finding your target often. Who would you like to meet?
I'll meet anybody.
Anybody at all?
Yeah.
Anybody at all?
Anybody.
All right.
Them all.
Terrell and two.
Terrell.
Hold it. Don't be giving us any clues or any cues. Well, Champ, I
have a book I wanted to give Floyd that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has out so that the American public and Floyd will better understand my religion, and it's called A Message to the Black Man. It's on sale now all over the country.
Where is it
now? The book was supposed to be here,
well, it's not
but
here.
It's not here now.
All right. Now we're ready for a playback, and I want your opinion as we look at the monitor, champ. I want your opinion of what you're doing right or wrong, or what Floyd is doing right or wrong. Here we go. Let's go into the playback if we can see.
Well, what I was doing right was hitting and not being hit. What he was doing right was getting hit and not hitting.
Now here we go into round number 12. It's our normal playback.
No heavyweight in the world has the speed I have. Look at the natural rhythm and grace. Just punching him at will. I weigh about 210 pounds, and just look at those punches. Right, look like a heavyweight Ray Robertson. Beating him at will. No match whatsoever.
What were you attempting to do in this 12th round?
Well, in that round, I was attempting to knock him out. Floyd has a hard punch, and he stunned me once. But as you know, with my lean-back style, my natural grace and ability, no heavyweight can get in on me.
Since when do you call it lean-back style?
Well, that's my style. Here come my friend Floyd.
Here you are.
That's my friend Floyd.
Let Floyd come in here if he can. Oh, wait a minute. Let's Floyd go in while we got
Floyd's a real man.
Wait a minute. Come here, Floyd. Hold it.
He didn't fall.
You said you stung Floyd. Hold it, fellas. Wait a minute. Now we have Floyd with us. Floyd, how do you feel? I know you were game as they make them.
Well, just let me say that this is no excuse.
Right.
But I've had trouble with my back for about
I pointed
10
that
years.
out.
But I would like to say that that's no excuse for what happened tonight. What happened possibly would have happened anyway.
Well, tell me this.
Floyd took all I can take, and I was surprised at that.
All you could give, you could say. Floyd, when did the back start hurting? I reported it in about the 5th round. Now, how wrong or right could I have been?
Well,
I thought you were troubled in the 5th with that ailing back.
It started in the...
He said he don't want no excuses.
No, I'm not giving
we
you
don't want no
excuses.
excuses.
No, I'm not.
The man was throwing a lot of punches, and he was moving fast, and I just happened to be faster than he.
Right.
He fought a much better fight than Lewiston.
What did you think of Muhammad Ali as a fist fighter?
Well, it's no surprise to me, although I did think that I could beat him. I have stated publicly on many television stations as well as the press.
Yes.
Mr. Clay is an underrated fighter. The press don't give him credit. And as I said before, I am not ashamed.
I don't want him. I want to say one thing to the public for Floyd.
Go ahead, Muhammad.
Floyd has his reasons for what he thinks and believes.
Yes,
but I don't want the people downrating him, and I don't want the people looking down on him because he lost.
No, he's
After all, he said he was trying to...
champion.
He said he was trying to bring the title back to America, which I say it is in America because I pay about 90% of my money to Uncle Sam. So I consider America having the title because they take all my taxes. But I don't want nobody condemning Floyd because Floyd fought a good fight and he took all of my punches, and I dare any man in the ring today to take what he could take.
Well, Floyd, any closing statement from you? Any closing statement at all?
And if it was not for my speed, I would have given in a lot of trouble.
Floyd, any closing statement from you? You've been a great gladiator down through the years, in my opinion. Great, 2-time champion, and a credit to your race and a credit to the American people.
Well, my closing statement I would like to make to Mr. Clay.
Ali, go ahead.
Mr.
Muhammad Ali, yes.
I would just like to say to him that, as I've stated many times before, he has a tremendous amount of ability.
He has.
He is very fast. He has a tremendous left jab.
And the people must remember Floyd has got just a little age on him, and in his prime, I would have caught a lot of trouble. I don't know if I'd still be going at the age of 31. You must look at that, too. He's been in the ring a little while.
You're both modest guys. The great world champion, Muhammad Ali, and a great contender, Floyd Patterson. Gentlemen, we thank you. Floyd just said, great fighter, Muhammad, and I want to thank you. And he's not saying it because you beat him. Muhammad, I want to congratulate you. You're a great fist fighter.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from the ring here at the fabulous convention center, where a capacity crowd watched a good fight go into round 12. Round 12, where Muhammad Ali retained his coveted crown, the World Heavyweight Championship. A deserving guy, a good fist fighter, and Floyd Patterson proves to us tonight that he is dead game. And this is Steve Ellis saying, I truly hope you enjoyed it. We here at Sports Vision enjoyed bringing it right to you around the world. And now we're going to just sign off with the fact that, well, good fight, and I know we had a lot of fun bringing it to you. Goodbye, everybody. Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated was the promoter of this heavyweight championship bout. This telecast has been a presentation of Sportsvision Incorporated upon exclusive rights granted by the promoters of this bout, Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated. Any copy or reproduction thereof by sound, picture, or any other device without the expressed written consent of Sportsvision Incorporated is prohibited.
So the man... Ali can put on, and this really is a shock for the ex-champion when the official champion, Joe Frazier, gets into the ring to receive an award. And that really was a well-kept secret there. And look at these two taking the last waltz there. Muhammad Ali and Boudini Brown, his trainer. And you watch, you'll notice Frazier won't even go over to Ali. He's just bursting his sides with laughter. What a character, this man. How can he do this when he's coming out for a fight? And even the intended victim, Floyd Patterson, there looks amused by it all. Good evening. So that's it. You can get your comfortable ringside seat with us then for Muhammad Ali and Floyd Patterson. And the usual prayer there, the Muslim prayer by Muhammad Ali. He does this before all his fights. They're both wearing white trunks, but I think they're sufficiently well known not to bother with identification. And if you're not too sure, well, the man who's 29.5 pounds heavier, Muhammad Ali, he's the tall one of the two. So then this is the repeat match. They boxed in 1965 when Ali, or then Cassius Clay, was champion of the world, and he stopped Patterson in 12 rounds. Patterson's rather proud of the fact that he was still gamely on his feet at the end of that fight and wants to prove that Ali certainly did not carry him. And at 37, physically, doesn't this man Patterson look really extraordinary? 13.6 he weighs, 188.5 here.
Jerry, we're going to go to the other mic.
So now we'll find out whether Patterson, in what he describes as a peekaboo style, he puts his head between these high gloves, can just duck inside that long left hand. This left hand that he uses almost like a Chinese torture there, Ali, to wear down the opposition. I think I'll be a bit surprised if Ali shows too much contempt for Patterson, because he does have, whatever else he doesn't have, a good left hook, and that's the punch that had Ali on the floor in the fights with Sonny Banks, Henry Cooper, and Joe Frazier. Just casual flicks, as you can see from the big man there. He really is an amazing mover. And at 30, as I say, he isn't getting any younger. So you can really say with these trunks, you're getting it in black and white as well as colour. Now that's the leaping punch you may have to look for there. If Patterson can dive in with that left hook, he calls it a gazelle punch. He really leaps off the floor. That's really the only chance he has of tagging Ali. So at the end of that first round there, it looked to me as though Muhammad Ali had spent up so much energy shouting there at Joe Frazier, who was introduced into the ring before the fight, that he wanted to take it easy a bit in that first round. But I like the look of Patterson at 37. He really is incredible and could dance around quite a bit. Does not carry any superfluous poundage, but this man doesn't even consider it's worth sitting down at this stage. This is his 40th fight, and of course he's lost only one, and that was to Joe Frazier when he lost the title. When I say lost the title, when he failed to win it back, actually, from Frazier in this ring last March. So round two then, and the research round is over. And Ali just flicking that left hand, but when he decides to put a bit of weight behind it, it is a hurtful punch. Now we'll see if Patterson can use these clusters of blows that he used to be famous for, combinations they call them in the American fight game. He puts them together, still fairly rapid, but it's a question of getting near Ali to do it. That's the problem. Well, we had what looked like a rehearsal there for Patterson's leaping left hook, and there he is trying to work up a bit of steam there, trying to get a bit of tempo, but both extremely relaxed fighters. And you can understand that when you have a man who's been 20 years a professional. Well, he was almost signalling there that he thought that punch was a bit low. Not only does he hurt with this, Ali, he breaks up the concentration of the opponent. That's the name of the game. Keeps him at bay all the time. As Patterson trying to set himself to leap in with that left hook, you notice that Ali's trying to beat him to the punch. Just say, take that, stay out of distance. There it is again. Now you can really see that one coming. Unless Patterson's trying to show Ali that punch and then speed it up when he's least expecting it. Now this is a question now of Ali's defensive skills. He realized he can't take too many liberties with Patterson, because the last thing a veteran fighter loses is the power of punch. They get a little slower, but they can still bang a bit. It looked a bit exciting to the bleachers, as they say, the backseaters here, but those punches weren't getting through. He was just brushing past Ali's shoulders with them. So no, they're not bothering to... So into round three. Incredible casual look the whole time about Ali. You just can't tell when he's going to start saying, well, now you're going to get it. He's having a look at Patterson, as they say. Patterson, 63 fights, won 55, and Ali, this is his 40th fight. So that's the pattern, obviously. If Patterson is going to stand square, Ali's going to rip those punches up. But to give it to Patterson, he has all the spirit in the world. He'll come back at him. He did this for 12 rounds in Las Vegas when he had a crippled back and kept going, and rather resents the criticisms that Ali was carrying him. Although, to be fair to Ali, he denies that. He still has quite a bit of speed there, Patterson. Obviously at 37, nobody can be quite the man they were, but Patterson reckons he's better now than he was at 30 anyway. And I just noticed that he double jabs with the left hand, Patterson, then turns it into a left hook. That's the old formula. When at one time they thought he had the fastest hands in heavyweight history. But now Ali's unloading on him a bit. The research rounds are over. So with a half a minute to go in this round, I can assure you that from ringside, those punches from Ali were not taps at all. He was really getting some weight behind those. An impressive weight it is at 15 stone 8. 6 feet 3.5. Well, it's time, the old gentleman here, 30-year-old now, Muhammad Ali, wanted to sit down. He was standing up between those rounds. So let's have a look at slow motion. So you can see how Patterson winds himself up to leap in. So this is still replay then of the third round. So round 4. And it was Patterson who was off his stool first that time, and Ali decided he needed to sit down between rounds. And now you can see it's been a little bit of tomfoolery there. Ali getting in, showing his face to Patterson, saying, okay, lead to me and I might counterpunch. This surely is what Jack Johnson did in his heyday, the way he tried to torment the opponents. When you think that Patterson knocked out Ingemar Johansson, he knocked out Henry Cooper, defeated Archie Moore, and there he is, standing there with Ali, really taking liberties with him. But one wonders if he just risked that chin out a little too far. What an infuriating man Ali must be to fight, to stand there and just goad you into doing something. Now he's winding up that bolo punch, the right hand. You watch this, he'll probably do a twist underneath and right through the middle of Patterson's guard. This is almost a repeat, I think, of that Las Vegas fight, when Clay then really punished Patterson, but Patterson was still struggling gamely, rather sickening side in the 12th round. Just pulling a disturbing bandage off of Ali's hands. This happens so frequently in his fights. It happened with Jerry Quarry and with Oscar Bonavina. Of course, you can't get knocked out with a bandage, but it's a bit distracting. It really is Patterson having so much difficulty. What does he do with this fellow? Apart from try to hit him, which he is trying to do. And he looked pretty impressive with that little combination. That was a little like the old Patterson there. So there he is then, the man who went up to 16-2 this year against Mac Foster in Tokyo, but he decided to whip himself back into shape. He was in Detroit for 3 days last week, winning a court case on points, I think. So he had to have a crash program at the weekend to do 29 rounds of sparring, and Angelo Dundee was saying he might have overdone it a bit. So then, replay into that round. Into the 5th round, and it's scheduled for 12, with its usual toying and taunting stuff from Ali, but occasionally having to take a pretty good whack from Patterson. Both of them former Olympic gold medalists. Both won gold medals at 18 in Helsinki and Rome. Patterson as a middleweight, Ali as a light heavyweight. Although that's one time when the crowd got a little bit excited, and who knows, Ali may have been a bit worried there because Patterson got through with the punches. Trouble is, these Patterson successes always seem a bit short-lived. You get the feeling that the big fella puts him in his place right away when he takes a liberty or two. So Patterson trapped there in his own corner, but none of the screaming from his seconds can help him. But the crowd always like a sidestep when the matador sidesteps the bull. They love that. No doubt about it, you certainly can't knock the physical condition of Patterson. Same weight as in his heyday as the world champion. And he's had 12 world title fights and an additional one for a disputed world championship. And the referee having to keep on his toes even with these big fellas. Arthur McCanty, New York appointed, of course. And the usual shouts there from Boudini Brown, one of Ali's seconds. Let's go to war. And the crowd really signal even the half successes by Patterson. They really encourage every flurry of blows that he throws. So there's one of the gamest men that ever been in a fight game. No doubt about it. You say, well, if you have $4 million in the bank and you've earned $8 million, why do I have to go on fighting? But this is what this man likes, and this is what he does best. And he really got through well there, Patterson. And there's the replay then.
Attendance and money if you ever won. Where is it? 7,000. Yeah,
So the halfway stage, round 6 then. And as if you didn't know, Muhammad Ali and Floyd Patterson, both former heavyweight champions of the world, and this is the really lively round, it would seem. And there's no larking about here from Ali. There really isn't. He's done the toying and taunting stuff. He's taken a few punches from Patterson, and it looks as though he wants to go to work in the 6th round. Patterson lasted 12 rounds in the last fight. It looks as though he's going to be lucky to do it here. But that's what Ali gets for mixing it now. By coming to fight like that, certainly would suit Patterson. He's lacking the height and having to have this 29.5 pounds disadvantage as well. And when Ali comes to him, he has more chance with the counter punches. There's some damage around Patterson's left eye now. You just see him thumbing a bit of blood away there. And it obviously came from that flurry of punches because there's been no illegal head work at all. Well, this really is a punch-up in this round. And he keeps trying that big looping right hand there, Ali. Sets his opponent up with the left hand. There it is again. And then tries to chop down with the right hand punch. Sort of a ripping blow that Ali uses. That's how he twice cut Henry Cooper in their fights. Thing is, when it comes to spirit and gameness, you can count on Floyd Patterson. Even though that blood now dripping from that right eye. And it's Ali taking him apart now, with half a minute to go in the 6th round. But if Patterson gets back to the corner and gets a bit of revival, who knows? He may go on a bit longer than this. But this is where Ali's trying to make every punch count now. There was no real big betting in this fight, and you can understand why.
Lift it a bit, Rex, for you, will you? You sound a little tired. No, it's all right. No, I don't want to scream. You sound tired to me. You're not your good self, darling. Might be all that.
So now here's the corner men. This is where many fights, of course, are won and lost in the corner. They're applying this ice pack round Patterson's face there. it can't be too badly cut because I don't seem to be using the adrenaline pads on it. But there's a fellow who's really taken a battering in that 6th round. An absolute dollar millionaire, but still. So you can see now that this left eye of Patterson's really is closing in the 7th round. It really is looking a bit grotesque there. And although that was a low punch, he actually slipped as he threw that punch. So you may get an apologetic touch there from Patterson. But this armistice will be very short-lived, I think. I haven't seen Patterson damaged like this in any of his fights. He was down 16 times in his 2 reigns as champion, but he really is being taken apart now. It's becoming a pitiful sight to see such a great fellow and at one time a great champion like this, and the referee warning Ali for pulling Patterson on. But unless Patterson now gets lucky and gets a bit desperate and tries to throw a punch, he really has no chance. I would have thought, obviously, that Patterson has trouble seeing these punches coming. It's bad enough to get out of the way of Ali's fast hitting when you've got 2 good eyes, but when one is closing, that really is trouble. And it's swelling fast, this injury. I'll be surprised if it goes longer than this round. The referee may leave it to the end of the round. He may let the seconds have another look at it and call the doctor. And that is the desperation stuff now from Patterson, as you would expect. It's more of instinctive retaliation. But he still has the pride of not having been knocked off his feet. I'm wondering now whether this really is the last time we shall see Floyd Patterson in a ring. And I suspect there's a little bit of compassion comes there with Ali. He's not really turning it all on. But on the other hand, he might be doing Patterson a favour if he does.
Less than half a minute.
So with half a minute to go then, this is the effort now from Ali. I think he wants to take Patterson out. There's no point in him really turning on this brutal punishment. And he's bleeding quite heavily now, and the eyes swelling. And it looks, yes, the doctor's coming up now, and it looks to me as though he cannot allow this very game man to go on in this one-sided fight now. Dr. Edwin Campbell, New York State Athletic Commission there, up in the corner by our commentary position. And I really can't see how he can let this go on. But there you are, the doctor's far more qualified than I am to make that decision. But he's already asking Patterson how he feels about it. Well, obviously, knowing the pride of Patterson, he's not going to quit unless he has to. It's a tense moment now, and Ali's corner looking over to say what is happening. But it looks as though they're going to send him out for the 8th round. No, the referee, quite rightly, refuses to let this go on. And it just shows you how ignorant can the crowd get. They're quite upset that the referee has stopped this at the start of the 8th round. But I am entirely in agreement with the referee and doctor's opinion there. It really is a bad eye. It was a one-sided battle, and one of the great fighters of our time shouldn't be humiliated any farther. So now we'll try and have a word with both winner and loser.
Where's that cup?
It's okay, I didn't get permission. One of these guys recognises me. Can I get in, fellas?
Very much again, Jim McKay. And now let's get to the fight itself, to the one that has caused national controversy and national headlines throughout the past week. Let's go to the Central Maine Youth Center and fight announcer Johnny Addy.
And the referee, ladies and gentlemen, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Jersey Joe Walcott. Ladies and gentlemen, Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated, Robert A. Nylon, President, and Arena AA present the main event, 15 rounds, for the heavyweight championship of the world. The principals. Introducing from Denver, Colorado, he's wearing black trunks. He weighs 215 1/4, the former heavyweight champion, and now the challenger, Sonny Liston. His opponent from Louisville, Kentucky. He's wearing white trunks. He weighs 206, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, Jersey Joe Walcott will now give the instructions.
Well, gentlemen, this is a match you've both worked very hard for, and I know you're both in good condition. I'm not going to go with a lot of preliminaries. I know you both know the rules of Maine, so I'm in here to enforce them. So I'll say you'll keep your punches up, protect yourself at all times. Good luck. Shake hands, come out fighting.
We're just about ready to go. Muhammad Ali sang a prayer in his corner before coming out to meet the challenger. And did you notice the way Liston was sweating under those hot lights? We're 15 seconds from the bell. Our ABC clock timing the fight will be superimposed at the bottom of your screens. Here we go. Tactics the same as in the first fight. Established almost immediately. Clay moving consistently to the left, virtually in a circle. Liston relying upon the left jab. To 1 minute. 1 minute, the time officially proclaimed by the Maine Boxing Commission as the end of the fight. Good right fight play. Did you see the punch? Did you see it? By the ABC clock, 1 minute 53 seconds was 10 seconds after Liston hit the canvas. Walcott never heard the official knockdown timekeeper. Liston never heard a count. Walcott leaves the fighters. Liston still has reflexes. Look at him duck. Now Walcott has gotten information that Liston was down for a count of 10 and more. And so the fight is over, and Muhammad Ali is still the champion in a scene of bedlam, chaos, and confusion. Confused is Jersey Joe Walton. The Liston frustration. The bandages come off. There is the confused one. The champion adulation, interviews.
In 1 minute of the first round, 1 minute of the first round, the winner. 1 minute of the first round, the winner by a knockout. And still the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
Isn't that incredible that they should call it 1 minute? Off come the champion's bandages now. And the champion tells the press exactly how he feels about at least some of them. But you can hear the crowd chanting in the background, many young Bates College students among them. Now here he's going to talk with the other television commentator, Steve Ellis.
Watch the tape. All right, Cassius. Wait a minute now. Muhammad Ali, better known as Cassius Clay. Muhammad, what was the punch that won it for you? You're a real champion at this point.
Well, the punch won the fight for me. I believe it was a left hook or a right cross. And one of the two, I really can't think because I was moving too fast.
A left hook or a right cross?
That's right.
All right, now, did you think you were going to be able to do it in the first round? You did it in 6 rounds last time, Cassius.
Did not tell the world that I had a surprise, and that if I told you the surprise, you would not come to the fight. With me was Almighty Allah and His messenger, and I've been saying my prayers regular, living a righteous life,
right.
And as you see, what happened.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, let me ask you this, if I may, Cassius. Wait a minute. Muhammad. All right, no, wait a minute. Okay, all right, Muhammad, tell me this. Did you think that Liston hit you with any kind of shot that maybe hurt you, any whack toward the body?
No, he hit at my body, but he hit my arms instead.
He hit your arms instead.
I'm a little too fast, Steve, to be hit by slow fellows like
You seemed very confident at the beginning. Why were you that confident coming out?
I'm confident because Allah's with me and His messenger, Elijah Muhammad.
All right, now, Muhammad, tell me this. What did you really knock him out with the left hook and the right side?
Well, I would like to see the videotape if you have it.
All right, do we have the videotape? Yes, we do.
Show you more.
All right, we have the videotape, and let's try for viewers all over the world see what we had.
Beautiful footwork. I was getting ready to come in there with a pretty right, but he was in the way.
He was in the way.
Yes, I must say this was an easy payday. My shape was so good, it really surprised me. I came in at 2.
Now you're going to hit him. Watch closely. Watch closely. Is it a right-hand counter? You tell us what it is. I think it was a right-hand counter, not the left hook that you talked about a while ago.
Well, didn't I tell you that Liston said in my poem, I want the world to know that I apologize. This kid is so fast, he can't be touched, you know.
Now watch this. Watch closely. He's still the aggressor, at least moving towards you.
This is scientific action, you feel. I'm a creative fighter, just taking my time and watching him knock him out. The man is a little afraid. All of this talk about somebody coming in the arena with bombs and machine guns scared him to death. It didn't scare me, but it scared him.
Well, now, Bodini, there it is. That was the right-hand counter.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it for him again.
A right-hand counter, as I saw it.
Steve, you have never saw the real Muhammad Ali. I haven't had time to warm up yet.
You haven't?
I haven't had time to just sit down and
let's look at it again. Now, that right hand was good. He aims toward the belly. He hit you under the heart there.
Yeah, I didn't feel it.
You didn't?
No, let's watch it. I thank Allah for his messenger, Elijah Muhammad, for giving me the confidence to conquer all of this fear
right,
they tried to put in me here tonight. I don't want to overlook it.
Describe this to us. Here he's coming towards you. He's moving in. You counter, I think.
I know I just blocked that right hand with my elbow. See, you notice my guard is down. I can't be hit because I have split stock and timing with footwork and head work.
All right, now watch it. Here it goes, in my opinion, as I look back. Halfway through this first round, or a little better. He's off balance.
I'm glad you're showing this in slow motion. I see why now. So fast, I don't guess you can see me in real action, Harley.
You're too tough for me. You're too tough for me to see. All right, let's be looking closely. Long time in slow motion for this to happen.
Who's he howling at?
That's right hand. Right hand. The right hand hurt him.
Right hand. Right hand. Watch it.
What was it?
Watch it. Watch it.
Did you think he was getting up?
Oh, I knew he would fall early, but I wanted it to be about 3 or 4 minutes later.
Why are you standing over?
I was trying to tell the bum to get up and fight. People.
Why are you doing that? Tell me why.
That was ABC's exclusive slow motion videotape coverage of the fight. We'll be back with the knockout in slow motion and again from a different camera angle in just a minute. Now, once again, here is the knockout in slow motion. Trust that time you saw the blow cleanly. Now observe closely the extraordinary sequence of events that follows. First, the refusal of the champion to go to a neutral corner. Now he apparently departs. Second, the attempt of Liston to arise. Apparently, he is unable to do so. Third, note the champion prancing about the ring. He has still not gone to a neutral corner. Fourth, the fight actually resumes. As it does, the referee departs to answer a call from the official knockdown timekeeper's corner. Sixth, Liston still has reflexes. Note the way he ducks the clay barrage. And seventh, Jersey Joe Walcott returns. He has been advised that Liston has been down for 10 seconds and more and declares Muhammad Ali the winner. And now at regular speed, here is the other camera angle we mentioned earlier. Play will be on your left as he renders the knockout blow. And there you saw it once again. Now, before we go to Robert Riga, let's listen to some post-fight comments by Liston and Muhammad Ali.
What happened when you tried to get up? Do you think the fight would stop before it should have?
Well, only thing I was trying to pick up the count.
You were trying to pick up the count.
Did you hear the count? Did you know what?
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear the count?
He didn't hear the count, didn't know what it was. There was no count. He couldn't hear it.
Was there a punch thrown before the right hand?
No.
How powerful was the punch in your opinion?
It was fair.
Hey, wait a minute. What did you say?
Said it was a fair punch. Sonny, did the punch surprise you? Clay says it was a new tactic to counter right.
It was a surprising punch.
If you had picked up the count, would you have been able to continue?
Yes, I would.
If he picked up the count, he would be able to continue.
Myself, I think so. Yes. Well, I would say the number one contender, Terrell, either one, yeah. Chavallo, either, but it don't make no difference. I'm in a position now where I can't squawk who's not. I might have to fight you.
In a position now where he can't squawk and have to fight anybody. He seemed to be in good humor. Did you hear it last night?
Yeah. Ain't no use, ain't no sense of being in bad humor.
Sonny, do you feel a disappointment at all? What actually are your...
Yes, I do. Feel real disappointed. I think it was because of my main point was to get him and get it over with.
What was your plan? Were you going to try and get him early or stay with him?
Well, I was going to stay with him.
He got hit hard. I hit him with a punch that Jack Johnson used called the anchor punch. Stephen Fetcher, the old great Hollywood movie star, as I told you, he's working with me, and we were in secret training on something called the anchor punch. And this is a punch that Jack Johnson took to the graveyard with him. Nobody knew it but Stephen Fetcher, and it's a twist-like chopped right hand that is hard to see. And I told a few of you fellas when you were at Chicopee, Massachusetts at my training camp, if you can remember clearly, I was demonstrating the right. Do you remember?
Why don't you show us how it went, Chad?
Yeah.
How does it go?
It's a snap punch, and you can't punch it until the man is coming in at you. That's like a head-on collision. One car doing 50, hitting the back of another car going 50, doing the same way, it's not much shock. But you turn the car around and bring them together head-on, it's a shock. So the man, I had to time the man with my rhythm and bouncing where he was coming at me and where I was meeting him, and just, that's all.
Goodbye, Jack.
Twist. And you can't see it, but if you were hit with it, all of you be out.
Muhammad, was he...
In boxing, when the championship of the world is at stake, defeat without punishment always creates doubts in the minds of the fans. I guess that's because of the great fighters we've had down through the years, the great fights, and the great pictures of those fights. Like this one, the day Jack Dempsey gave a tremendous beating to Gibbons in Shelby, Montana in 1923. Or this one, when Rocky Marciano won his world championship in the 13th round with his tremendous right hand to Jersey Joe Walcott's chin. There was never any doubt about this punch or about Marciano causing the damage. Or in the two fights with Izza Charles and the tremendous punishment Charles took and Marciano's battered face. It was all there for everyone to see. But in Lewiston, Maine, in the last heavyweight championship fight between Liston and Clay, there was a great deal of doubt. This is the first punch of the fight. Clay throwing a right hand over Liston's left jab. This is Clay's second right hand, the one many people thought was the best punch of the evening. It caught Liston on the chin, but he kept on fighting. And this sequence shows precisely what happened and how the punch in question was landed. Clay was circling to his left, as he always did in the first fight and in this fight. Then Sonny Liston threw a 17th jab. He was short with it. He missed on all 17 jabs of the fight. You'll notice Clay's hands. Both his gloves are below his belt. He's circling to his left, on his toe, and then suddenly he brings his right hand up over Liston's jab and connects on the side of Liston's head. He's pushing off his rear foot. His power is coming all through his body. He has every intention of landing the blow. Liston crumples. His gloves come together. And now if you look at Clay's feet, he's swinging to the right. He seems to be off balance. But the punch has landed. And then he follows through with the left hook, but of course it misses as Liston goes down. This is the punch which so many people did not see. Another question is, for a man like Liston, who had never been floored before, how can one punch like this put him down, especially when thrown by Clay so early in the fight? There's one theory that's very interesting, and that's the karate idea. The idea that a fighter throwing a particular punch in a particular style
as Clay can do, because he has this great balance, this great speed which you need in karate, and the fact of the twisting motion at the waist, which a karate fighter always has, and the way when you bring the glove up, you turn your fist over. The karate people call this focusing the punch. A hook is like this, a jab is like this, but a karate punch is like this. I don't say, or no one says, that Clay intentionally threw a karate punch or that he planned this punch, but because of the nature of his style of fighting, it's perfect for throwing such a punch. And perhaps landing here on Liston's head and throwing it in his style, which is natural to him, it was very effective. This could have done it. However, with all the slow motion tape, with all the high-speed film, there is one question to be answered, and one question which photography will never show. And that's, what about the integrity of a fighter, his courage and his skill and his desire to win? No camera showed it that night in Miami when Liston stayed in his corner, and no camera showed it in Lewiston. The immortals, Jack Dempsey and Rocky Marciano, will discuss this idea in a little while, but right now, the famous referee, Ruby Goldstein, and Howard Cosell.
Thank you, Bob. And Ruby Goldstein is, of course, the most famous third man in the ring in boxing history. Ruby, you're in the ring. Guy gets knocked down. What do you do?
Immediately, I see that the man that's caused the knockdown gets to a neutral corner, and in about 4 seconds, I'm back yelling the count into the man that's on the floor, which I pick up from the knockdown timekeeper.
How do you hear it from the knockdown timekeeper?
It usually comes to the count of 4. I hear it from the knockdown timekeeper in Madison Sq.Garden, the both clubs, or where they hold the fights. There is a loudspeaker, and it's very easy to hear. But someplace I wound up where you couldn't hear it in some smaller clubs, and we just read the lips of the announcer.
Lip reading.
Right.
All right. Have you ever in your lifetime left the fighters to themselves, one fighter on the floor?
No, you don't leave it, and I feel sorry for Joe Walcott. He's a fine man, very honorable man, interested in a lot of good work, but he had a tough man to handle, a man like Clay who kept roaming around in the vicinity where Liston was, yelling to get up, and it was difficult.
At the same time, we've got to be reportorial about this, Ruby. Let's have a look. We had a special camera following Walcott during that period of action there, or chaos, however you want to put it. And I'd like your comments about Jersey Joe as we run the film of the fight and see exactly what he does. Now, there's Liston down. Now we're going to be going to Jersey Joe. See him looking over there? What would you have been doing?
Well, if you notice, he's got a little difficulty there with Clay yelling and making motions.
But he didn't even go to Clay.
Well, he probably don't know where the knockdown timekeeper is sitting, and he probably doesn't hear what he's saying, and he's going over to find out what's going on. It is wrong, but I feel sorry for a fine guy like Walcott.
And not having heard the timekeeper, his key error was to run over there and then declare the fight over. Because you can't declare a fight over, can you, Ruby, if the man is never going to a neutral corner who's not the other man?
No, you don't have to count. You can tell the timekeeper to hold up the count, and that's why Dempsey had the long count in Chicago with Gene Tully. Dempsey didn't go to the corner, and the referee didn't start the count until he did. So henceforth, you had about 4 seconds more in the counter. And he could have done this here as well, but maybe it's the fact that
just a once-a-year
these
referee.
Fellows don't referee too often. Sometimes once a year, twice a year, then 3 years goes by and they don't referee, and you can forget sometimes. Anybody can make a mistake. I've made it too.
Yeah, but so few and far between. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Thank you, Howard.
Ruby Goldstein, of course, and we'll be back with the man who was involved in the long count, Jack Dempsey, Rocky Marciano, Jimmy Cannon, the great sports writer, Bill Hines, the editor of the Fireside Book of Boxing, in a moment, right after this message. This is Jack Dempsey, a legend in his time. And Bill Hines, boxing expert, editor of the Fireside Book of Boxing, author of the great boxing novel, The Professional. Jimmy Cannon, the distinguished syndicated columnist of the Hearst Press. The hard rock from Brockton, Rocky Marciano, who never tasted defeat. These then are our panelists, They have seen the very films that our viewers have seen, and I'd like to begin with you, Jimmy Cannon, because at the bout, you were directly situated to see Clay throw the punch. Was there a punch?
Yes, there was a punch, Howard, but I didn't think it was hard enough to crush a grape. The ring lights were very hot. The only explanation I can give for the way Liston fell was that perhaps he was sunstruck by the lights. It was a hoax in the sense, I don't think it was a fix in the sense that money was passed, but I don't think that Liston tried as hard as he should. He just took a punch and got out of there. That's the way it looked to me. Afterwards, when he got up, he certainly wasn't unconscious. He seemed in possession of his faculties. He ducked, knew enough to duck, about 5 or 6 right and left hands. Now, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon after the fight. Before the fight, I refused to pick a winner because I didn't like the circumstances of it, the people connected with it, the mere fact that Liston owns 22.5% of the stock in the company that promoted it. They make an excuse that he doesn't really own it anymore, but it's in the name of William Crawford. I asked Sam Margulies, who's connected with the promotion and seems to be Liston's manager, although he denies it, whose name it was in. And he said, William Crawford. And I said, who is William Crawford? And he said, Liston's father-in-law.
All right, Jimmy, I'm going to move from that to Rocky Marciano because, Rock, you and I were seated together right beneath Liston, virtually, where he fell. Weren't you under the impression that he slipped or tripped rather than fell?
Yes, I did, because Clay was in no position at the time to throw a solid punch. He was moving from side to side in those funny moves that he makes, and it looked like he pulled back, threw a sort of a leading right hand without too much power, but from the films, evidently after he threw it halfway, he then put some power behind it and did get in about 6 inches of punching power.
Didn't you feel that Walcott thought Liston slipped or tripped?
Yes, he acted that way because he just didn't start the count at all.
Well, here's a good chance, gentlemen, for a break. We'll get to Bill Hines and Jack Dempsey in just a minute, so let's take 60 seconds out for another kind of sport, shall we? All right, let's resume and let's talk to the Manassas Mauler, Jack Dempsey. Jack, you deliberately did not look at that fight until today when you've seen the films.
That's right.
What's your view of the films?
Well, there's very little to see, except I saw the punch, and the list looked very slow, and there was so much confusion, you can't tell what was going on.
You think it was a knockout blow?
Well, I don't know how hard he was hit. Not being on the receiving end, you never know just how hard these punches do come over, but I did see the punch go over.
Earlier, you were quoted as saying that you didn't want to see the fight or even hear it because you expected that this kind of thing was going to happen.
Well, I felt that something could happen, and I didn't want to, if you can't say something good, why say anything at all? I didn't want to say nothing.
All right, Bill Hines, you edited the very film that the viewers have seen today. You satisfied that there was a sufficiency of force in that punch to knock out Liston?
I think that the answer, Howard, rests with Mr. Liston. If he couldn't get up, I think he belongs in Rochester, Minnesota, where the Mayo Clinic is. And if he wouldn't get up, I think he belongs in absentia.
Which is where he'll likely be from here on in.
I think so.
Billy, the thing that puzzles me is the documented record shows that Liston had never before been felled, and Clay had never before been a one-punch knocker-outer. Now, in the wake of those facts, how could this have truly been a knockout punch?
Well, I think you'd have to understand Liston's entire physical condition, and we're not sure of that. We're really not even sure how old he is. He says he's 31, and we say he's 31 plus. Certainly he looked like an old man, and as the two pros here can tell you, when you get to a certain age, you just don't live under a punch the way you did when you were young. So I think that's a factor, too, Howard.
Well, Rocky, when you were not so young, really, in your career, Archie Moore decked you with a short right that only traveled about 6 inches, didn't it?
Yes, that was when I missed him with my own right hand and had the full force going. And Archie, the clever man, just stepped back just about 3 inches and hit me with the best counterpunch you ever saw. And coming in and he coming in, I just went straight forward.
What do you think about when you go down?
Well, you realize that you can be put down, and it's a frightening thing to know that you can be put down. The punch traveled just a short distance, and you say to yourself, he can do it again, I better be a lot more careful, or a lot more aggressive, either one.
Was Clay's punch at all like Moore's?
No, not really. I thought he just started it more or less to parry, and all of a sudden he saw the opening and he threw some power at the last moment. I've noticed that on the film here. He didn't have his body behind it or any real follow through. It was just a over the right arm and right on the chin. It could have hit him in a good spot and just confused him very much.
Well, as our viewers can see, that punch continues to remain very much in dispute. Our guests have been Jimmy Cannon, Jack Dempsey, Rocky Marciano, and Bill Hines. Thank you, gentlemen. The mystery of the punch unanswered. That's the way it was that May 25th, 1965 in Lewiston, Maine, in a high school hockey rink where they had a heavyweight championship fight. The big questions remain unanswered. Yes, there was a punch, but was it of sufficient force to knock out a man who had never been floored before? What about the referee, Jersey Joe Walcott, and his total confusion? Incidentally, Jersey Joe was invited to appear on this show, but was unavailable. Had he counted, could Liston have been up in time? Did Liston really, for that matter, get a fair shake? And what about all of the other bizarre circumstances attendant upon the fight? The way it got, for instance, to Liston. Well, some say this was the end of boxing. Congress may bring in a federal boxing commission. Some states want to wipe out boxing. But this may, in fact, have been a new beginning, because Floyd Patterson, now in Sweden, says he's been promised a fight in the fall. And right now, there's a man in the ring, George Chavallo, and there he is, who wants to fight the heavyweight champion. He's ready at that moment. He may get the next shot. Indeed, this may be a new beginning. That's the story of the big fight, Muhammad Ali against Sonny Liston. What about next week on Wide World of Sports? Well, next week, ABC's Wide World of Sports will be at the Commodore Hotel in New York City for the World Pocket Billiards Championship. Luther Wimpy Lassiter will be defending his title against Joe Balsas. Lassiter and Balsas meet in the finals of this competition involving an outstanding field of America's pocket billiards players. Also next week, we'll present an outstanding topical event of international significance. So be sure to check your local listings for ABC's Wide World of Sports next week. The executive producer of ABC's Wide World of Sports is Rune Arledge. The Clay Liston segment was produced for ABC by Jim Spence and Jim Colligan and directed by Marshall Diskin, Bob Delaney, and John Sedgwick. Parachuting coverage produced by Jack Lubell and directed by William Bennington. Today's remote pickups were by ABC New York and Hollywood. Nationwide and worldwide travel arrangements for ABC's Wide World of Sports made through in promotional consideration furnished by TWA Trans World Airlines. Remember to check your local listings for ABC's Wide World of Sports next week. Now, this is Howard Cosell saying so long. Preceding program was pre-recorded.